It was fine. It was all good.
That looks like a good idea there, Albie.
What is yeah?
I'm fighting a cold, and I've reverted to the only medicine that has ever worked well for me: bourbon.
Yep.
I think that's a valid treatment plan you have going on there, Albie.
Yeah.
I think so too.
I used the Scotch variant for that.
Well, you know, metabolisms are different.
I'm one of those strictly pure bullet because it looks medicinal.
But my dad started me out early.
I go with
Scotch and honey.
Toddies, buddy.
No, I like my bourbon. It's nice, and I got the burniest one that I've got, so, and hopefully that'll clear that mucus that keeps showing its ugly head. I mean, when you go to sneeze and you go, it's all the way down here. What the hell? Because this big ass glob comes out of your sinus, and you're like, oh, I go wash my.
Yummy.
I remember why I'm not a nurse.
You need it. It's like turn around and go, I need a shower after every one of these.
That's why I have gloves and diaper wipes and sanitizing wipes and tons of Kleenex in my room.
And a 3-inch water hose.
3-inch water.
Is that what
Okay.
she tells you that is a water hose?
And I'm a little redneck, so I'm going with this.
Okay, well, we are live, so that's kind of a cool thing.
Of course.
So, yeah, hi everybody. Welcome back to the Mystic Syndicate. We're here with our good friends from the Drunkards and Dragons gaming group. And tonight we're doing something a little bit different to start off with. We're doing their Q&A questions, and I'm providing the answers this evening for things that may have been on their brain for a while. If you had been with us earlier and you'd seen some of our Q&As with the players, it's now their turn to bombard me with questions that they may have. And so we'll see how that all ends up. I'm not really too sure, but we will. I have seen some of the questions ahead of time, so that's kind of nice. It's not like there's not a lot of gotcha questions, but then again, there may be a gotcha question, which will be kind of funny because then I have to ad-lib the hell out of it and make it look like I know what the hell I'm talking about when I probably have no clue. So, alrighty, but we're going to go ahead and start with introductions. Of course, I am your Dungeon Master, Brian, also known as Game Master for those people who are politically correct now. I still go by Dungeon Master. It just seems cooler. I ain't falling for that shit.
Did you say gatekeeper?
Butt plug to prove it. I mean, sorry.
Wait, what?
Did you say gatekeeper?
Game Master?
Game master?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gatekeeper is better.
So we're going to start off with introductions with ladies first, of course.
I am Melinda. I play Grenna Babbleboots with her pet ward,
Bubbles.
Bubbles.
I am Mike. I play Kiffi Blackhammer, Dwarven Cleric of Fortubo.
Oh, I'm Pav. I play Kelex Zelenen, Lord Protector of Bissell, a Paladin of Heironious.
I'm Russ, and I play Járngrímur töframaður Halldórsson. Ugh.
Even you forgot.
I think that's the first time you had problems saying it.
It's not,
Looking at it.
I'm not looking at it, and it's been a long
What did you put in the shepherd's pie?
Mushrooms.
Sure. That they just brought to me from the woods now.
Shepherd. What else? Hi, I'm Ed. I play Lord Ambassador Tomas Waverly, Bard and Fighter of the Realm. Knight of the Realm, sorry.
I'm Glenn, and I play Timble, Snivenblaven, soon to shed all titles, all positions, ready to strike out on my own with them.
Okay, so striking out on your own with them. Okay, that sounds good.
Way it works.
Okay, so
Ed's like a puppy dog. He'd follow you anywhere.
So is there someone who would like to be the master of ceremonies on this thing? So, you know, the moderator, so to speak.
Ed rolled a 1.
There's
That's
only,
okay.
there's
That's
only
what I'm
one
saying.
moderate person in this group. Kiffi, go for it.
Ed rolled that 1. All I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really cut out for that kind of role.
Well, I mean, you can at least just like pick somebody. You don't have to, you know, it's like, I'm just looking for somebody who's going to, so that not everybody's shooting questions all at one, you know, just like one at a time, first person, you know, that sort of stuff.
We could do like introductions and just stop from the top and go to the bottom.
We could
That'll
start
work.
with Grenna. Yeah, Melinda would be
Yeah,
good to start
I like
with.
that idea.
Okay.
Just go last. I'm throwing it to you. I actually really don't have many questions because we've talked and I've listened to all of the conversations. Although, in this campaign, is there anything that didn't go the way you thought it would?
Every day.
Everything. like you know, sometimes we can become predictable on what we're doing. Like, we know that if given a choice, we're going to run in guns blazing. Pew, 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 pew. So was there a time where you were expecting us to do one thing and we just went off in a completely different direction that kind of threw you off?
You guys actually do that a lot. Yeah, but as I've always said, this was never really a railroad situation. So leaving the tracks is fine. It really works for me because then I get to show my ability to improvise and just roll with it and make it, you know, it's like, you know, let's just develop it and see where it goes. So I don't, it's not that it drives me up the wall or anything. I'd love to see the difference between my original group that ran this campaign and seeing how you guys handled it. Totally different. I would say probably after the first or second session, you guys pretty much left the reservation. So I was like totally fine with that. I was like, okay, they're making it their own game. You never, I mean, of course you guys would have never seen the original because it was way back in the day. But no, I would say probably, I would say more often than not, you guys leave what you guys keep me guessing all the time, which is great. Because if it was predictable and then it would just start getting boring for me, and if it gets boring, then it becomes no fun. So, and you guys can understand that. Yeah.
So we're kind of like all fun all the time.
Yeah, actually, you guys are really fun to play with. As far as groups that I've played with in the past, I would say I enjoy this group a lot because you all bring so many different ways of being able to play. And then also the fun part is that you guys can change the way you play in midstream, which is just like, holy crap, did he just like totally, yeah. Ed does that a lot. Ed will just be like, okay, I'm gonna do something completely different. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. I get it. I'm fine.
Do you have a favorite? Derailing?
See, what's nice is like then I have Pav and Mike, who I know exactly. I mean, they're kind of the rocks. They're the stable. They're actually probably the stable people. They're stable. I can depend on them to be stable. Like I said, Ed is
1 out of 3 Hoosiers. Which is insane.
As I said,
1 out of 3.
Yeah, Ed is like the loose cannon, and Yarn has. Well, I would say probably Yarn is difficult because he has a play style, but then all of a sudden he'll say something just completely like out there, taking the group kind of in a totally different direction. And I'm like, okay, cool. I like it. Same with Timble. Same with Glenn. Glenn will also do that. He'll come up with something so completely off. It's not even off the wall. It's totally within the realm of the game and the scenario. It's just something I didn't think about, which is wonderful. And then Grenna, pretty much with Grenna's character, when it comes to like some of the weird, intricate things that her character is in and a part of, like making specialized weaponry. Also the situation with your actual background, which is developing, which is wonderful. I love that. And I'm glad I kind of introduced it to kind of keep you guessing, but it's a lot of fun. Okay. So did I answer your question? Cool. Okay, good.
I have a follow-up, since you mentioned that I throw a monkey wrench into everything, and you mentioned your adaptability.
Uh-huh.
I just posted a picture in the chat. Can you walk us through the time you heroically, or perhaps not so heroically, attempted to stop a washing machine from rolling down the stairs with your face? And as a follow-up, did it have you thinking, my name is Luca, although I would guess that Luke would have probably made a safer choice?
Oh Lord. Okay. Where did you find this picture? Oh my Lord. Okay, so you need a so I guess I need to tell the story. Okay, so I have a house. Well, my son lives in the house that my grandmother gave me, which is literally right across town here in my hometown of Bristol. And we were renovating the house, getting ready to have new renters come in. And I wanted to replace, I got a brand new washer and a brand new dryer to put into the basement. Well, there's no real way of getting anything into the basement unless you take it down a flight of stairs. So my son and my dad were up at the top, and they have these like cargo straps around it. And we're walking it very, very slowly down the staircase. While I'm on the opposite side of it, guiding it down these stairs.
You're the brake.
I'm the brake. And what happened was one of the band, what did I call it? The strap actually flipped off the top of it, and it fell and hit the step. And when it did, it flipped up. And when it flipped up, it smashed me in the face. Of course, I was wearing glasses, so it just mashed them right into my face. And if I had not just thrown my entire body against it, it would have overpowered me and crushed me at the bottom of the staircase.
But instead, you decided to catch it with your face.
I caught it with my face and then threw my body against it to stop it from crushing me. And I ended up with like a really good black eye. A real serious. The entire sclera of my eye was just broken blood vessels. It was like the scariest I think I've ever looked. And of course, I was working in an elementary school at that time. So I decided to wear an eye patch because I didn't want the kindergartners being scared to death of me, because I'm already 6'4". And I was bald, I was like literally have no hair. And a lot of times the little ones get kind of freaked out until they realize that I'm really just a gigantic teddy bear, and I mean no harm. But with my face looking like that, it probably wouldn't have went over as well. So yeah, guys, I could actually create just a a stream just of the horrible things that I've either done to myself over the years.
No, washers are heavy. I mean, don't mess with Brian.
Well,
Yeah.
for everybody on Discord, and maybe Brian will edit them in. The pictures are in the chat, so you can look at them and laugh at them.
Yeah. Yeah, let me actually see if I can bring it up on the thing here. Maybe I can't. Is it in the Discord chat?
Yeah, in the Discord chat.
Oh, okay. May not be able
God.
to get to that.
Oh,
What's that?
Wow.
Yeah,
there
it
are
was,
actually 3 pictures.
That looks like it hurts.
it was very painful, and the worst part about the whole thing was we were leaving the next day to go back to Florida. And so it's like an 816-mile trip, which is about 13 hours, 14 hours. Both my wife and son had the flu so bad that they were both laying in the back seat, literally comatose. I mean, they were bad. And I was driving with one eye for 816 miles, literally scared to death.
Were you singing pirate shanties all the way?
Yeah, because my depth perception was terrible, and it was very painful. But yeah, I was able to get past it. I didn't lose the eye, thank goodness. It's the second time I almost lost an eye. I've done this before, but the other one wasn't a washing machine. Thanks for sharing that, Ed. I just love sharing these times when I almost died.
Well, that's why we keep Ed around. He comes up with the weirdest shit.
Yeah, that's good.
Hey, Brian.
Uh-huh.
But wait, there's more. But I'll interject after somebody else.
Okay.
Oh, do we want to go one by one around?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, Jimmy, if you want to.
So it's Kiffi's turn.
Okay. Okay. Have you ever given a party a treasure that you immediately regretted giving them?
And
Ooh.
monorails don't count.
Once again, taking something that has nothing to do with treasure and turning it into a treasure. That was hilarious. I'd have to think about this. I really can say that I don't think I've ever given anyone something so powerful that it derailed anything. No, I can now. I have ran what they would consider a Monty Hall dungeon, where they walked out with like thousands and thousands of gold pieces, and they thought that was awesome. But it was kind of like a one shot, and I didn't really care. So that was all fine. But no, I would say that I've never been in that situation. But I mean, hey, I'm still running games. I can screw up.
Well, I'm impressed.
Nina's still young.
I might screw up with you guys. Hell, I've got ideas.
So do we.
I'm sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Good question, though. Yeah, I never even thought about it.
All right,
All right,
Bob, hitting.
All right, so you're saying we're the second group, right? That's played this particular campaign.
Actually, the third.
Oh, the third. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what inspired you?
Mhm.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
The second group was kind of like this one, but it didn't follow the original one. It followed the original one probably about like the first 2 months, and then it just totally went in an opposite direction, and I didn't even care. It was weird though, and it was actually very sad. And I'll elaborate. We had a fella who was playing, him and his wife. His name is Jonathan, a super nice guy, very knowledgeable about the game. He was also a former military army intelligence super guy. I mean, this guy was awesome, and I really loved playing with him. And about halfway through the campaign, he passed away. He actually died halfway through my campaign, and it crushed us because he was such a beloved figure in the game, and he became a really good friend. And it was right after I moved up to Tennessee, and he was one of the first. Actually, he was the first group I played with up here after I made the move. And him and his wife were just wonderful people, and he died in his sleep, and we were just and it took us about 3 months to be able to get back into actual gaming. And of course, I made his character a beloved NPC that, would help them from time to time. And it worked out really well. And his wife really thought that was a nice way to remember him by. But yeah, he was the first actual player I ever had pass away. And
Literally.
I didn't know how to really, it was weird. It was just so weird to have that happen. I mean, you think, kill the character off. It's a lot different when the player actually dies. So, but okay, I don't know if I answered the question.
No, actually.
I'm sorry.
Well, I guess. So what inspired the overall theme of the campaign?
Awesome. Okay, so 2010, I was... every once in a while I would sit down and just put out some basic ideas on campaigns. Because I was, wanted to run one. It had been a while since, and I hadn't ran one in probably close to 10 years. Actually, I hadn't played in 10 years. And I had a copy of, and I still have that copy, is the Greyhawk Gazetteer. Love it. So I poured through it, was coming up with some ideas, and I was thinking, okay, this, and usually what I do when I write campaigns, I'll write the introduction, like the opening scene stuff for our first scenario, our first session, and then I write the final, what I want it to look like, and then everything else is, it just comes, whatever happens. I look at it also kind of like when playing chess. Openings. There are thousands and hundreds and hundreds of books written about openings in chess. Mm-hmm. And then there's a lot of books written about the end game. Lots of end game stuff. But the middle part, there's nothing written on the middle part because it is the realm of pirates and magicians. And that's the way I look at Dungeons and Dragons. It's a lot like a game of chess. So I was just sitting there and I was thinking about it. I'm reading through this and I'm like going, you know what? I could take what's in here, twist it a little bit, make it my own. And that's how I got started. I said, we're going to not open in a tavern. Everybody opens in a tavern. We're going to start on a battlefield. So that was the first thing I told them as soon as I said, okay, are we ready to play? And they went, yeah, let's go. And I said, roll for initiative. And they looked at me like I was insane. And I went, no, roll. And then I laid out the scene and they were like, you gotta be kidding me. And I went, no, this is how we start. So
I have a follow-on to that question.
Okay.
We've established that the Greyhawk Gazetteer is on your bookshelf. Back in 2017, your bookshelf contained the complete Grimm's Fairy Tales, I Strahd, The Ultimate Hitchhiker's Guide, H.P. Lovecraft, Greater Tales of Horror, H.G. Wells' The Time Machine, and Pierce Anthony's On a Pale Horse. All great books. And this establishes to me the influence of something that I call top shelf movies. Mike and I used to live together, and we used to have all of our movies that we really liked and watch all the time. We called them top shelf movies. They're right there in this perfect spot. Since 2013, what's been added or taken away from that series of books?
Oh, well, let's see.
Do you have the complete Incarnations
This was-
of Immortality from Anthony?
No, I don't. But I've read, I think, all of them. But On a Pale Horse was my favorite. I loved On a Pale Horse. I also liked the
Mars.
Mars was good. Was it A Tangled Skein? Was that the other
Yeah,
one?
yeah.
I like that one too. That was
That
okay.
one was,
Yeah.
Well, those are the three.
Oh.
Those are the three killers out of that series. But
Yeah, and then what was it? The Time one, the Kronos one. I couldn't remember what it's called.
Oh, yeah. No, I can't remember the name. I can see the cover, but
Spinning butt plug.
There's that Dungeon
that's
Master.
a very underrated series.
Yes.
I'm personally glad that I added a spinning butt plug to your top shelf. So
Okay, so the books that are here now, and some of them may be the same.
Brian Sanderson.
The complete tale, the complete Edgar Allan Poe,
that's a new
because I
add.
love Poe. Let's see, Ice Rod, of course.
Yep.
Well, a book called The Elfish Gene, which was a guy who grew up on D&D, but it's a very critical look at playing D&D, and I kind of felt the guy was very pretentious and kind of an asshole. So I don't know why I still have it, but I still do. I might end up just giving it to somebody who I don't, care about.
Don't like
The old white elephant gift.
Okay, so I have H.P. Lovecraft. I think it's the blood curdling tales. Yeah. I have a copy of the Necronomicon. The copy.
Yeah.
The copy was it the paperback copy from like the 80s.
Yep,
Right.
81.
I use it. Yeah. More H.P. Lovecraft. Cthulhu 2000, which is a more modern Cthulhu stories. Yeah. So that's it on that side. Of course, everything else is role playing, except the bottom shelf, which is Python, and what else was there? Oh, SQL.
Well, we won't hold that one against you. That's for fact.
And then I have a German dictionary and a book of German idioms down there because, yeah, it's a weird bookshelf.
I think we all still have those.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah. Yes.
If, you should take a look at Gotrek and Felix from Warhammer.
Oh, okay.
Seriously, that'll give you a great insight on dwarves. It is an incredible series.
And since you're an H.G. Wells fan, have you watched the movie Time After Time?
That sounds so familiar.
It's got who is that actor?
This,
Always forget his name.
is it
Christopher Reeve.
Christopher Reeves? Oh, I've seen that. Yes.
No.
not-
No, that's Somewhere in Time. Time After Time is with Malcolm McDowell and Mary Steenburgen, who is the chick that plays the Doc's love interest in Back to the Future 3, and she's the mother in the movie Step Brothers.
Oh, okay.
Basically, H.G. Wells uses his time machine to come into the future into modern day San Francisco.
Ah, okay.
So
Well, that's
I'd
cool.
recommend that.
Okay. Yeah. I'll check that out. All right. Did I answer the question?
Yeah, sure. You exposed your books, and there have been some changes and some movement, so I think that's really great.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, I have other ones I have another bookshelf now that has more books on it. That like The Architecture of Fear. It's just a paperback book just full of horror. Great book. Have you guys ever heard of the book called The Secret?
Yes.
Okay, now it was written in like the early 1980s, and it was literally a treasure, like a treasure map sort of thing, and that people followed it and found where this guy, the editor, actually buried all these boxes.
Different book, The Secret. Never mind. I was more with the 2000-ish era Christian book where the guy loses a family member and, a positive energy sends out. Yeah, no. Anyway.
No, this one's The Secret, a treasure hunt. And what it does is it has puzzles, or actually it's more like, probably the best way to put it is, it's not puzzles. Oh, they're verses. And the verses correspond with pictures. And the pictures are the clues that'll let you know which American city these boxes are hidden in. And if you go through each one, you would be able to find out exactly where, and a few of the boxes have actually been found. The only problem was the editor passed away and did not tell anybody else where they were at. So
the ultimate troll.
Yeah, and this is an original copy, and I've had it since, gosh, let's see, 83.
Well,
back when kids put book plates in their books. I'm such a geek.
So that's my second question, Brian. You still got 3 more, but next,
Okay.
Go ahead, Russ.
Okay, now I have a question, and then I have a follow-up. So hold your horses, Ed. So, what do you enjoy, get out of being a DM?
What do I get out of DMing?
What do you enjoy? What do you get out of it? What's the payoff for you?
I like to story tell. I love to tell stories. And so I think, and it's not really that everybody's a captive audience. It's just that I enjoy sharing what's going on up here. Mm-hmm. Some of it's a little weird. Some of it's very dark and demented. And I'm sure there's probably some people who think, yeah, he probably should seek counseling. But it's nice when I can find a group that understands that, sort of like this group. But what I get out of that is that I get to share my ideas. I get to make them come to life. Mm-hmm. And you guys help do that by just being your characters. And that's what I get out of being a DM. It was never a control issue. I know that some DMs are really about, being kind of a little controlling, or have like really weird ideas, like, everybody roll for breast size or something. I that was never something. Yeah. Most of us are, I got my B cups going.
You got a man move. Yep. Okay. All right. You answered that. Okay. That's fine. And you also answered the follow-up, which was, how would you apply that to our group? So I'm going to go ahead with my other question that I was going to have.
Okay.
Which character do you dislike the most?
Roll for it.
Toby. Yeah, Toby was interesting. And Toby was problematic.
Toby was before his time.
Yes, no, you're right. Toby was definitely before his time. I wouldn't say I don't have one that I dislike. I think they're all very well put together. Some are a little bit more, I really enjoy more than others.
Come on, Mom. Who do you hate more?
It's me.
It's Bubbles. God, I hate Bubbles. Fuck Bubbles. No, don't fuck Bubbles. We don't condone that here on the stream. So, now I will say probably. Okay, so Tomas is nuts. He's probably the one that is probably the most difficult to kind of work things in. But the best thing is that Ed always rises to the occasion with it, and it's not really an issue. He's a weird character.
In a lot of ways.
In a lot of ways, yeah. And not just the character, but Ed is a weird character. So I hope that answered the question.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. I hate this. I hate that question, too.
No.
And that was the one.
You asked that
everybody.
Yeah.
I
We're
know.
number one. We're number one.
Okay. Next.
As the follow-on to that, Brian,
Uh-huh.
you periodically teach colonial history classes, and you've introduced students to the time-honored tradition of ship's biscuit and those hard little rocks that they are, and even convinced a group of fifth graders the joys of apple butter. How does this passion for historical reenactments begin, and do you often find yourself introducing these forgotten flavors to modern audiences?
Oh, that's a really good question. It has been, I first got started when I was doing Civil War reenacting. I got kind of brought into the Revolutionary period after I was in with Civil War. I really also at that time I was really into, and I'm still am really into genealogy. And as I started to go back, and the further you get back, the more interested you get into different time periods. And I had a slew of Civil War ancestors, guys who went off. A bunch of them didn't make it home, buried in unmarked graves in the mountains. Who knows where they're at? But that's how I got started. It was really through the genealogy. And then once the genealogy, then I started getting into the reenacting. All of my ancestors were Southerners. So I did not want to dishonor them by playing Union. So I didn't. So yeah, I was part of the 7th Florida Company B infantry. Which was, and as a matter of fact, I still have their hat right here. Let's see if I can grab it.
There you go.
Yeah, I used to wear this at reenactments. I still have all my gear. Fitting.
Notice it's a straw hat. Floridians weren't stupid.
I don't even think it did.
They just build houses below the floodplain in hurricane areas. So
No. That's Louisiana.
It's Louisiana.
Florida is all one big floodplain.
That is true.
But as far as when I taught at schools here in Tennessee, I did do the colonial history for a couple of classes. We made beeswax candles. Actually taught them how to, and we melted the wax in a double boiler and had them come in and do all of that good stuff. And they got to keep the candles, so they got to take something home with them. The big difference between apple butter, introducing apple butter to children in South Florida is a lot different than bringing apple butter to Northeastern Tennessee. Every kid knows apple butter in Northeastern Tennessee. Most kids in South Florida had no idea what apple butter was. They had no concept because a lot of the kids there are from the Caribbean island nations where they didn't have apple butter. So with that in mind, I would bring in apple butter. And a lot of times, if I was doing Civil War history, I brought hardtack. I just brought hardtack crackers that I would make at home the night before. And those aren't as bad as ship's biscuits. Ship biscuits are literally hockey pucks, which just horrible things. And I brought in ship biscuits one time to a 5th grade class in South Florida, and I was trying to explain to them what apple butter was, and there was maybe 1 or 2 kids who understood what apple butter was. But they were American students. They weren't from Cuba or Haiti or the Dominican Republic or Mexico. So I said, okay, what we're going to do. I already showed them the ship biscuit, and I gave each kid a ship biscuit. And I told them, I said, please, whatever you do not try to eat this because it will literally break your teeth. Please do not put it in your mouth. Don't do anything like that.
And who here knows what the first thing Ed would do would be? I would bite it.
So I was getting ready to hand out some apple butter. I had like little tiny cups and stuff like that so they could taste it. After I explained to them that it wasn't butter, I explained to them where it originally came from. For those people who don't know, it's actually was created in Belgium in the Middle Ages. It's a really neat, it is definitely a European thing. And all of a sudden, I hear this gnawing sound like something is grinding. And I look back at the back of the room, and there's this boy sitting back there, and he is literally like chewing on this thing. And I'm like, no. And I mean, he is, I guess he was hungry. I don't know. But he was trying his hardest to eat that ship biscuit. And I'm like, oh, God, no. And that was also the same class. I gave one student from Haiti some of the, the apple butter? And I didn't realize, and he didn't even realize he was allergic to cloves.
Oh.
And he went to the hospital.
Yeah, man, this story's getting better as more than I thought it would. So,
Ryan almost killed a kid.
Yeah. I'm good at it. If it's not me, it's some other poor person. Yeah. So to answer your question, yes, I have introduced it to others. I have used it here in Tennessee when I moved. Since I left the school system, I have not done it at all because now I work in industrial IT, so it's a little different.
Hard to get time off.
All right, Albie, you're up.
Well, I'm going to on reflection, I will ask this based upon your story. But did I give you a good scare with open heart surgery? Bring you back to that other game?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I was worried about that because when they said that you had to go in for that, and I'm like going, oh, please no. I can't do this one again. I can't just lose, players because that would have crushed me. Yeah.
Well, fortunately, I won out on that one.
Yes.
But back to the game questions, I was thinking about this. What, as a player, what do you think makes a good game?
Oh, as a player.
As a player.
Wow, something I don't usually do.
And how do you work that into as a DM?
Oh, okay. Well, I look at, and of course I have to go back sometimes to look and see. Right now I am actually playing in a game. I'm playing a Cleric. It's an online game. The DM, she's Scottish, and she has a really thick Scottish accent. She's an absolutely lovely person, and she's a really good DM. But what I really enjoy is having DMs that have a creative spark where they can come up with their own stuff, just not reading from a module or an adventure script. I really enjoy it when somebody can go off script, just be like, you know what? We're just going to put this aside. We're going to use the maps. We're going to use the scenario is still there, but we're going to do what we're going to do. And I really enjoy that because a lot of times people, I mean, but back when I was a kid, of course, I had modules. I had boxes of modules, and I started out that way, like everybody else did too. We got a module and we played it like as written, as Gygax intended.
I never did that. So that.
Oh, you never did?
It's interesting.
Oh, that's cool.
No.
Yeah, and it really wasn't until the first Princess of Selene was the one where I started doing my own homebrew.
Your own world building.
My own world building.
Kind of.
Well, it's kind of. Now I already have, and all the while this is going on, I'm actually building a world of my own right now that I would love for you guys to play in. It's going to be different, but it is one where I've created the maps all on my own. I have the cosmology laid out. I have the what's it called? It's origin story of the universe laid out. There's a lot to it, but that's what I really like is spontaneity in a dungeon master, in a game where, let's say that we want to, do something a little different and leave the train depot in a different direction instead of the way it's written. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I had two DMs that kind of played, and one was Thaco wasn't good enough, so he took it farther, and he was a mechanical engineer. The other one was an English, I think, what was it, Shakespearean student.
Oh.
So his were just bizarre, fae-filled, fun stuff. And those were the ones I remembered. So for me, that was always like the bar. And you're very good with the off the cuff. And you run that middle ground. But I do not recommend running with a mechanical engineer as a DM.
I bet. Yeah, it sounds like
you want the actors to be the DMs, not the engineers.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we've been through everybody once. Grenna, you're up.
She's just sitting there like, I don't want to do this. What I find is interesting is how Ed is pulling stuff out of my past, and I don't know how he found it.
Well, while Grenna thinks about this, and this might inspire her,
Facebook.
So Brian,
what is your worst experience with D&D?
Oh, other than losing Jonathan, I don't know. That was terrible. Like actually playing?
Yes.
For the record, Brian, I was going to come in with some type of safety sheet and hand it to you tonight, just because you said I will throw you the fuck out.
I will throw you. I will mute your ass and kill your camera. We're not doing that shit. Okay.
Challenge accepted.
Look, Ed said this is his.
So, as a player, I don't think I've had. Okay, now I would say this was but this was really kind of my own fault. And once I did it, I knew I screwed up like really badly. I just
acid?
no, I didn't. Not like you. So, I was doing a one shot with a group. I was brand new. I didn't know where my dice were. So I showed up to the game without dice, which was
mistake.
Which was bad. And this was within the last 7 years I did this. It's like, I mean, And so I'm, they're like, oh, okay, no problem. We got some, I'm sure we can, find you some spare dice, but they did not put the dice out. And so I'm like, okay, so it comes to my turn, and I'm going to make an attack, and I reach over and grab the dice of the guy next to me and did not ask for permission.
Oops.
Yeah, that was a dick move on my part completely. And I felt bad the rest of the entire evening. And that guy, yeah, you just don't reach over and grab somebody else's dice. That's just not cool. And I did it.
What did you roll with that die?
I think I rolled a natural 20, which I think screwed that guy because that's probably what he would have gotten. And yeah, I did not get asked back, even though I did bring drinks. But I was not worthy enough. So that's a lesson for all the viewers. Make sure you find your dice, or just go and buy you a new set of damn dice. Don't just reach over and grab somebody's dice.
Please bring a whole lot more dice than I actually need. I have mine. I don't touch mine, but the bag, you can help yourself.
Yeah.
Hey, Brian, as a piece of advice, if you set it down and say it's a butt plug, nobody will ever touch your dice again.
That reminds me of there was a skit many years ago, and you can still find it on YouTube. And I don't know if it was from. It was a TV show, but it was obviously back when you could actually like tell jokes and be funny. But there was a skit, and it was called Ass Pennies. And the whole thing was this guy and his brother were out playing golf, and one of the brothers was going in an interview or something like that, and he was really nervous. And his big brother told him, said, hey, you know what you need to do? You just need to go get you an entire roll of pennies and one by one put them up your ass. I'm like, what the hell is... And he said, yeah, and then start passing these pennies around. And so when you think you're getting a little too nervous or something like that, just think, they may have one of your pennies that's been in your ass in their pockets. And I was like, oh my God, this is so disturbing. But I could see somebody taking their dice and cramming it up their poop chute. Yeah.
And it's headed to the bank in the morning.
So, Grenna, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said like the worst time I ever had playing D&D.
Oh,
it was that. And then it resulted in ass pennies. Sorry. I watched.
Wait a minute.
I watch bad things.
By this point.
Does this mean she's going to get in trouble for our broadcast again for something that I didn't say?
What?
I don't know.
All the weird things we say. Your gaming group, Grenna.
No. The one that used to watch it has graduated.
Oh, well then it's safe.
I come in the room now. The Wednesday group, they when they play, they're all up at the smart board and they're moving their characters around and they're very loud and boisterous. They're having a really good time. And then the one that comes in on Thursday is like going into a library.
Oh,
They are
different play style. Nice.
Wow, talk about a dynamic change. And then Tuesdays is really rambunctious, but those are all the newbies. So they're always asking questions, and they all have the books, and they're all challenging, and they're all opening the books to understand. So that's kind of interesting to watch them do that because it's Pathfinder. So they're looking at the books and they're discussing it, and they're coming up with a common thing for each one of them. So that's been really interesting to watch. But the Wednesday group, I like watching because they get really into their character. Maybe a little too much, but it's
nice. Fine. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and you know what? That's fine. And they know that I listen, and they know that I kind of pay attention. And if there's anything disturbing, they know that I am a mandatory reporter. But it's a safe place and there's no judgment.
Oh, that's no fun.
Through.
Bring on the judgment.
What are you talking about? Brian puts pennies in his ass. I'm definitely judging him.
No, I have never put pennies in my ass.
No, I haven't. No. You, Ed, I judge. I judge hard.
You should.
What kind of child did you have? Childhood did you have?
Not in his nose, not in his ass.
I could probably have fun pulling out my psychology books and analyzing you, but I'm not going to do that because I like you the way you are.
Well, let's put it this way, Melinda. Sometime you and Stephanie should get together. She also has a psychology background, and she will tell you that life with me can be a little interesting. So we'll just leave it at that.
They don't make books to prepare you for Ed.
No. No, they don't. All right, G,
So,
you're up.
Next.
Okay, yeah. My other question was about do you have a homebrew campaign or a homebrew worlds in it? You've already slightly touched on that.
Yep.
Would you like to elaborate on it?
Oh, I would love to. Yeah, I would definitely like to. So, it is a Pathfinder Dungeons and Dragons world. It is feudal, but it is set in a sort of a post-apocalyptic scenario that there is at one point in time, there was technology, but now that has been forgotten. And so every once in a while you run into things that are technologically related, but they're very mysterious. But it ends up playing into something very important at the end of the campaign. And that's really about as far. There are airships, which are nice. There are elves, there are dwarves. There are the races that you would regularly run into, but they all have a backstory of how they got here. It's a completely different planet. It's a different solar system. It's just a completely different take on sort of things. There are dragons, and but like I said, the history of everything is just really, really different. And I wish I could go more into it, but I'm kind of hoping that
World.
I'm sorry.
Is it like Gamma World meets Shannara?
No. Shannara is awesome. I really like Shannara, but it's not like that. It's totally different. Yeah.
Don't ever watch the Shannara series they tried to put out.
Oh, was it bad?
I tried.
Oh, you tried?
You know it's bad when the most liberal member of us can't even suck his way through it. So.
Yeah. Well, I know you're talking about Albie, but I watched the first season. I don't think I actually didn't even finish it.
You got through the first season?
I don't think so. I heard the second season got better, but I couldn't force myself to do it.
I removed the fork from my eye a few shows in. So
yeah.
But as far as worlds go, like I said, I have the maps already done. I have the political layout for each country. I have the names of the ruling families. I don't have the genealogies done yet, but that's coming. Sorry.
Well, there's airships, and I'm totally down.
Yeah, airships are a thing. Weird meta magic stuff happens. But like I said, the story is interesting. The story, I think you guys would really get into it.
Well, let's
Yeah.
finish this one first.
Of course. Yeah, we do still have some way to go with this one. But I can definitely see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, but it's still pretty far off.
Yeah, 7 months.
Yeah, maybe actually probably more than that, but so yeah, you guys are looking at least, more than half a year of stuff to go.
You guys are looking at it all wrong. We can TPK tomorrow. Anyway.
You can do it tonight.
Yeah, you guys could actually. You guys could. Okay. Next.
All right, so I'm gonna ask are you done, Mike?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Very.
So I'm gonna just a simple kind of fun question. If you could have one cantrip in real life, which one would it be and why?
Oh yeah, this was really neat. At first, I was thinking light would have been really useful, especially when I go out to close up the chickens in the middle of the night when I forget to close them up. But I got a flashlight for that, so it wasn't like that was a thing. I was thinking prestidigitation would be neat, because then, there's some certain things you can do with that.
Like you're in Harry Potter at that point,
Yeah.
Prestidigitation. Stir my spoon for me, bitch.
Yeah, pretty much. Just I mean, of course, if you were asking me what 9th level spell I want, well, hell, let's go to town. Bring the pain. They shall all pay for their insolence. No, I would say probably prestidigitation, because there's just so many different things that you can actually do with it, and I think it'd be pretty useful, especially in my line of work when I'm like under some sort of machine and I'm trying to turn a screw or something. I'm like going there, or even was it what is that magic hand thing or something?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, mage hand.
Mage hand would be cool. It's a shame Unseen Servant isn't a camp trip. That would be useful too, because then I wouldn't have to go to the break room to get a soda.
That brings up a weird question.
I'm so mundane.
Are you a sexual deviant if you use Mage Hand or Unseen Servant?
Is that like getting some strange or something?
Yeah.
Just be like kicked back like this.
Russ is already going, ah!
Yeah, it's like Mage Hand my balls. That was good. Good question. Yeah, but I think it'd be prestidigitation. I think that'll work.
All right.
You're up, Russ.
Next.
That's funny.
Wow. Okay.
Focus.
You've had Princess of Zelenen as a campaign multiple times.
Yes. I'm a one-trick pony. Yes.
If you're good at that one trick. But
so's the chick in Tijuana.
what the hell up, Ed? So my question has to deal with backstories.
Oh.
Well, because mine's the oddest. So,
Yes.
And
I didn't have one.
I was wondering how they actually fit into the campaign, or if they did, or how did you deal with, or what was your thought on utilizing the backstories?
Okay, with backstories, I try to use the backstories. Some I don't, like with Kelex's. I have not even touched his backstory, because I really it just really didn't. I just really hadn't needed to. But with yours, Yarn, yours specifically is very difficult, because I was trying to fit you in such a way that, yes, you are a wizard. You needed, you were looking for information. You were looking for things to increase your power, and that is how you ended up in kind of working with Antero, who is the the court wizard of Bissell. That is how that. But also, your background of your people plays a big part in the future of the game. Right now, it's kind of like, oh, okay, I have went up through the ranks. You now have an actual office in the Crystal Citadel. You have a tower that is being rebuilt in Bissell even as you speak. You actually have attained a decent amount of power, and also being that Antero left tons of information for you and magic items, you have really kind of came into your own. But your story is not done yet. You and you will see how this plays out. As far same with Timble, I have not really pulled anything from his backstory. Grenna didn't really give me a backstory, so I just made up hers and just decided to play with it. And so Regis and Gita Babbleboots, she did not know who they were, but they are her parents, allegedly.
No, you gotta squash that allegedly like through the roof into the floor and pulverize it.
Right. And then you know, it's like her, you know, the uncle, Vitram Harefoot, who was not a gnome. You know, how does this work out? Kiffi, I don't remember seeing a backstory for him. Maybe there was, but I took Angus Gravelheart. And there is his uncle. There is his tie from the Dwarven kingdoms in the Lortmill Mountains to Bissell. So I have a way of being able to get, at least there's a reason why you're there. What happens after that, you know, it gets all wrapped up. Of course, with the death of Angus, I introduced more dwarves from the royal family, from that family line, who came in and did what needed to be done for Angus, and that helped flesh out a little bit of Kiffi's backstory. Ed's backstory was very complex. He had a lot written on it. I think there's like a folder letting me know about all the stuff. Have I been able to use some of it? Yes. His relationship with his father, his relationship with his mother, his brother. You know, been able to put a little bit into that. The introduction of Lily Nelst. This is something that was added onto it. Going back to real quick to Kelex, the introduction of course, Melda was always a part of the story. And the funny thing was, if Melinda had played an elf, she would have been Melda. I mean, I was waiting for someone to, you know, pick up that mantle.
You never go back.
Yeah. But see, in the first adventure, in the first run of Princess of Zelenen, one of the characters was Melda. There was no Kelex equivalent. There was a half-elven cleric of Celestian that was there, another player, but there was no, there was like no love interest sort of thing. There was a person who played Raven. Raven was a real person, so and she was interesting. So, but I use these people now to fill out your all's backstories. They're a part of your world.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's cool. I was thinking more in general as opposed to specific, but that was.
Sorry. I get on a run, and next thing I know, I'm like, oh, hey, let's talk about that, and let's get into that craziness.
Well, the DM is allowed a tangent or two. Kind of there.
Yeah, I guess.
And speaking of tangent two, Brian, you seem to have a love for the outdoors, or used to, from kayaking, bow hunting, and fishing, and even what appears to be a passing interest in beekeeping. Whatever happened to the dehydrated baby possum?
The dehydrated baby possum. Dehydrated baby possum?
You had a baby possum you were feeding with an eyedropper. Whatever happened to that baby possum?
Oh, that little guy. Okay, yeah, there's a whole story behind that. Actually, I'm getting my brother, my youngest brother, and my son were the big beekeeping people. But I'm actually getting I was told I'm getting a hive for Christmas, a Langstroth box for Christmas, and I have a lady that I work with at my current job who is they're beekeepers, and they're going to get splits this spring, and they're going to give me a split off of their hive.
Oh, cool.
So I'm really happy about that because and my son told me he would help me with the with the upkeep, and because I have information. It's not that I'm totally I got my beekeeper's handbook here, ready to go, but it's a lot.
If I can make a suggestion, you whipped out your beekeeper's handbook. I would suggest you find a copy of the ABCs and XYZs of bee culture. It is like the literal Bible.
Oh.
My dad used to collect them, so he could see what changed every year in every edition. So my father was a beekeeper, so I saw that and I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting.
So it was the ABCs and XYZs
of bee culture.
Bee culture.
Bee culture.
Oh, neat. Oh, cool. Yes. An encyclopedia pertaining to the scientific and practical culture of honeybees.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. How much is that? Let's see.
Probably about $50 is my guess.
$45. Yeah. So after taxes and shipping and all that good stuff. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome, dude. I will put that in my my wish list so my wife can see it. Okay. So yes, the baby possum. Was it okay? Now was it a possum or was it a raccoon? No, it was a possum. Okay, so the situation was I worked at an elementary school, and there were a group of kids who were heading to school, and a possum got hit by a car, and they noticed that there were these little tiny creatures, like wiggling around and stuff like that after mommy got hit, and so they ran out into traffic and grabbed up these little babies and brought them to school with them. And so the first thing to do, I have a third grade boy. I can't remember his name to save my life. It's been years and years and years. And we'll
call him Mungo.
Yeah, he's literally in tears. I mean, and he brings me this box, and there's 5 of these little baby possums, the baby possums in it. And I'm like, going, what? Where did you find these? And then they told me the story, and I'm like, you guys were in traffic? I mean, because this was a very busy stretch of road. I mean, they could have easily been hit with the possum, and then I would have had a lot more. There would have been a lot more tragedy that morning. So, so we ended up taking it to our science lab, and the lady who was the teacher there, her name was Linda, and Linda had little eyedroppers, and we went out. I ran to the store real quick and got some sort of some formula or something that I can't remember what she cooked up, and we were in there feeding them, and they ended up going to a wildlife rescue, which was called the Bush Animal Rescue I think it's in Jupiter, Florida. I actually drove them all the way up the coast to deliver them to the Bush Wildlife Center so that those little guys would have a chance. So that's what
part of Busch Gardens?
No. No, it's called, no. This was in Palm Beach County, Florida, on the East Coast. Yeah. So yeah, it's in Jupiter, Florida, which is I think close to about probably a 40-minute drive for me. But I wanted to make sure that they got a chance. Yeah, they were cute. They're cute little things. But there was a lot of times kids would bring us stuff. I mean, they would bring us raccoon babies. They would find just stuff on the way to school. They'd just pick it up, put it in their backpack, and bring it to me. I'm like, Why are you bringing these animals? But yeah. So now you know.
Albie?
Well, given that we are the drinkers, that hard-hitting question of beer or liquor.
Oh, it's really kind of, I guess it kind of really depends. If I'm with my son and we're out doing stuff, it's usually Guinness. I love Guinness. I'm a big fan. My son really enjoys it. If I am with others, it really kind of depends on the situation. My wife and I, every once in a while, will have a little bit of apple corn. You know, little. I love apple corn. We actually have a bottle of it here. So we'll take
Jaeger?
Yeah. I tried Jaeger once and got sick as a dog, and I'm not gonna ever do that ever again. I think it was the smell that kind of caught me off guard. I like vodka. I love dark spiced rum.
Ooh, pussers.
Yeah.
Well, it's not spice.
But yeah, I mean, like I hate gin. I can't drink it. It's just yeah. Ouzo's Ouzo's a little weird. but so yeah, I have a wide variety. I have a whole story about a night of trash can punch that we made while we were in the barracks and ended up driving it over to one of the off post housing units. And that's where I almost put my eye out. So that was fun. I hadn't even started drinking yet, and I did that.
Did you make the Army track team?
The Army track? No. Army track team? Is that a...
Oh, I think it's the first... So in the Army, when you get busted, they put you through alcohol rehab, and they call it track. So if you're on track 1, track 2, we used to call it the track team. So...
No, I never got that bad where I had to be. Now, I mean, I showed up for PT many times, still drunk.
Yeah, and
yeah. I mean, most of you guys did, so it's not like this is anything new. But to maybe our viewers and stuff later on down the road said, yeah, there was a lot of times that we did PT and we were not good.
Thank you.
But we made a big old. We just got back from. I can't remember if it was. We were out doing something. We'd been gone for a couple of weeks. I don't think it was Graph, thank God. I think we went to the range in Bergen-Belsen, which is not too far away from where we were stationed at, which is in northern Germany. And so we came back. One of my buddies went out and bought a 32-gallon trash can, one big plastic Rubbermaid Jokers. And he told everybody, said, okay, go down to the Class 6 store. I know you guys have, you have marks on your Class 6 thing. Get 2 bottles of whatever you want. I'm like, okay, fine, I guess. So I just got 2 bottles of vodka. I was like, you know what? It's clear. Everything will be cool. So we leave him to it, and he's in there cutting fruit up, like oranges and he had pineapple and all types of stuff inside this thing. He's got it has half filled with water, and then he dumps like a whole entire tub of, I think it was like cherry Kool-Aid mix or something. And then he just starts pouring bottles after bottle after bottle. And you got to think, there were probably on our floor alone, there was easily close to 60 guys. So, I mean, we're just handing bottles to this psycho. And finally he gets it pretty good to where he wants it, and he just starts stirring this thing. He had like this, I don't know if it was like a broomstick he had taken apart. I don't know what he'd done, but he's
handle.
a mop handle. Yeah, God, who knows? And he's in there just stirring the hell out of it. And we got back on, I think, a Tuesday. So he started making this thing on Wednesday. Well, it was Super Bowl weekend, which was perfect. So we have this gigantic just trash can full of very potent stuff. And we started hitting this thing on Friday night. Right after last formation, we're in there murdering this thing. And we had those clay Stein things that, mine's around here somewhere, and we just go and fill them, just fill them and fill them and fill them. There was ice in there and everything. And so we were totally destroyed Friday night, Saturday morning. And then we decided, okay, we're going to take this to our buddy Matt's house. He lived off post. He lived in off post housing with his wife and daughter. Well, the wife and daughter were in the States for Christmas. So, and they were going to be gone the whole month of January. So it was like, oh, this is perfect. This is great. So it was just me, Matt, and a bunch of other idiots. And so we put this the trash can in the back of Matt's truck, strap it down, and drive it to off-post housing. And I said, okay, guys, I'm going to run down to the PX real quick, and I'm going to buy spaghetti fixins. And they said, no, don't worry about that. We'll pick it up for you if you're going to cook. And I was like, oh, guys, thanks a lot. That's awesome. And so they said, we'll be right back. But I had never been inside of his apartment before. So I was like, okay, great. And he said, and as he's leaving, he said, okay, so when we come back, if you could just buzz us in, just hit the, we're going to buzz up, and you just hit the button and buzz us in. I'm thinking, okay, that seems pretty easy. So about 45 minutes passes by, and I hear the buzzer. And I'm like, oh shit, I don't even know where the door buzzer thingy is. And so I'm running around this apartment, looking for the buzzer. I can't find it any damn where. And of course, they're just laying on it because they're assholes, and it's just like, I'm panicking. And I come around a corner. And when I come around the corner, I did not realize that there was a hanging lamp suspended from the ceiling. And it had like metal feet, and that one of those metal feet like went right into my eye and took a chunk out of my cornea. And of course I'm like, oh shit, because that's really super painful. And so this was Saturday afternoon. Yeah, this was Saturday afternoon. So I finally find the damn buzzer. I finally find it. And so I'm literally just, I'm in such great pain at this point in time. And I'm thinking, oh shit, okay, the troop medical clinic's closed. It's a Saturday. I'm screwed. And I wasn't about ready to go to a German hospital. I mean, I could have. I probably should have, but I didn't. So my friends decided, okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to try to make Brian as comfortable as possible. They got me some ice packs and stuff like that. And and they put me in the nicest chair. It was a recliner lazy boy, and said, hey, you just chill out here, dude. We'll bring you all the alcohol you want. So I was self-medicating to kill the pain in my face. And so I spent the rest of Saturday there. We watched Super Bowl on Sunday. And by the time Sunday rolled around, you thought my eye looked bad in the pictures from getting hit with the washing machine. This thing was totally swollen shut, and just pus was running like down my face. Okay, so I'm like, oh shit. So Monday morning comes around, and I'm standing in formation. And, of course, the sergeant, comes walking by, and he's looking at everybody. And, of course, I'm in parade rest. And he looks right up at me because he was a lot shorter than me. And he just went, Anderson, were you in a fight this weekend? And my buddy, who's standing right next to me, who was there and saw it all happen, he said, no, Sergeant, he ran into a hanging lamp. And the sergeant looked at me and just went, huh, that I can believe. You getting in a fight? He said, just go to the troop medical clinic. So they sent me to the troop medical clinic. And I walk in, they took one look at me and said, we can't help you. I'm like, okay. And so they call up to the company and said, hey, we're going to set up transportation for him to the train station. You need to send somebody with him. And they were like, okay, so they send one of the other guys, one of the other, a medic down. And they took us over to the train station. We went 80 kilometers north to Bremerhaven, which is on the North Sea up there, little German town. And there's an army hospital, U.S. Army hospital there in Bremerhaven. So I spent probably a good 4 hours there. Then they cleaned it out and checked it, and and then they decided that it was in my best interest, so not to strain the other eye, that they were going to wrap both eyes. So now I'm blind, like completely freaking blind. So my buddy, I'm literally holding his hand as I'm walking out of this place. And we get back on the train. And for 2 weeks, I was blind. And it led to a lot of fun and shenanigans from my friends who are assholes.
Those are good friends.
One of my good friends, no, people that I still actually talk to, that I would do anything for. But we were in the chow hall, and my buddy is leading me in. This guy's name's Alan, awesome guy. He just retired actually from the West Virginia National Guard. I think this past year. And one of the other people in the cafeteria is full of people. And one of them says, hey, Doc, what happened to your eyes? And before I could even say anything, freaking Alan says, I skull fucked him. I could have murdered him on the spot. If I could have seen him, I would have strangled him. But of course, the entire place just erupts in laughter. And I'm just like, please, just end my life, like right now. And this went on until they ended up pulling they actually kept the bad one wrapped for almost a month. But after 2 weeks, they went ahead and freed this one up, so at least I could see. And I wasn't eating stuff that they were bringing from the chow hall that they said, oh yeah, this is this, but it was really something else. And I was like, assholes, thanks. Dicks. But yeah. So there's my story about drinking. I hope that answered all of your questions about my shenanigans and stupid shit that I've done. Okay.
We all know it's just the start. There's more.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because I did tell you guys the time that I my intestines popped out. I told you guys that one, right? Good. Okay, I don't want to have to rehash that one. That was horrible.
Grenna, you're up. Oh.
Is Grenna eating?
Mike, you're up then.
Oh man, I didn't really have
anything else.
I would like to yield my time to Pav, who had a lot of.
Yeah, he had some good questions. I mean, all of these questions have been good, though.
I'm telling you, I'm asking reasonable questions for once.
You're reaching back into the Wayback File, though, man.
I don't know. I think I'd be a little nervous. Is your security cameras working okay there, Brian?
No, obviously not. I mean,
What did it cost you?
my life's an open book, obviously. as scary as that seems. Okay. So, Pav, you had a good one?
All right. If you could have 5 famous people play around your gaming table, who would it be and why?
It would be Grenna, Mike, Pav, me, and Glenn.
Okay, I think it might be a hard one to think about.
It was hard, and I did come up with something. Do they have to be alive?
No.
Could they be dead?
No.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, good. Okay, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, but they might not say much.
Well, no, but I mean, if they were like, if they were alive,
undead campaign.
Yeah, I think if okay, so if they were alive, I think Alice Cooper would be really good because I know Alice Cooper's played, and he's kind of. I think he would be an interesting person to play Dungeons and Dragons with. But as far as alive goes, I think he would probably be the one that he'd be my first go-to. I went to one of his concerts. It was just phenomenal. It was great. So I can't speak badly of Alice Cooper. As far as dead people goes, I think Tolkien would be great. I think that would be a lot of fun. I don't know. I think as a dungeon master, he'd be kind of crazy. There'd be an awful lot of detail because he can be quite detail oriented. Of course, Gygax and Arneson would always that would come to mind. So there's 4? You said 2 more. My wife said. Yeah, my wife said one that she thinks would be interesting would be the Apostle Paul. And I'm like, okay. I didn't think about the apostles, but I was thinking, okay. I mean, he'd seen some crazy stuff, and okay, yeah, maybe.
I mean, Aleister Crowley would be there too to counter that, or
I don't know about Aleister. That would be that's
probably be a language barrier with you and Paul.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There would be a big language barrier because because let's see, the language of the day there pretty much was still Greek or Aramaic.
You had to take language into account. You said people.
Yeah, it just said people. So I think my 6th person. Jeez. Oh, Poe would be interesting, really? Or Lovecraft. Lovecraft would also be kind of messed up. Lovecraft as the dungeon master would be really unsettling, I think. We'd just play Call of Cthulhu then. We wouldn't play D&D.
Brian have nightmares at night.
Oh, that's all right. Speaking of nightmares, kind of funny thing. I woke up in the middle of the night the other night and was immediately thinking about we're doing an infrastructure assessment. We finished it, and I had one computer that was on the network. It had an IP address, but the Germans left me no information on the computer whatsoever. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. They didn't tell me where it was on the network. They didn't tell me where it was in the plant. I'm like, you guys were the ones who installed this. Where the hell is it? And finally, I found an industrial engineer who knew exactly where it was. I was like, oh my God. But yeah, it was a sleepless night. But I went off topic. Okay.
All right, Russ.
I really don't have any more questions.
Oh, okay.
We've been talking for an hour and a half, so you've answered all of them.
Yeah, without even knowing it.
Yeah, and I've went off on tangents that really meant like nothing.
Well, here's my last question, Brian.
Okay.
Finally, I love that you took Byron Kearns' survival course in Georgia.
Yes.
What was that like, and how did that influence your DMing style by using this and the other situations I mentioned earlier as source material and inspiration.
Okay, so it wasn't in Georgia. It was actually in the Ocala National Forest in northern Georgia, northern Florida.
Oh, okay. So
Okay.
he's moved it a little bit. I
Moved.
went and looked at his website. Okay.
Yeah, that was a 3-day survival challenge. You didn't bring food, you didn't bring water, you didn't bring shelter. We just kind of went in as ourselves, and we had to build our own backpack and do all that sort of stuff, and we had to build our own shelters out of what was it, scrub palm, Florida scrub palm. The mosquitoes were ungodly. We had to drink out of a pond of water that, I don't know if you saw the pictures. Did you see the pictures, Ed? And
a few of them, yeah.
Yeah, there's one picture of the pond where we got our water source from, and I think that's where I ended up getting my the cysts on my liver. Thanks. Yeah, because I kind of think that they're probably some sort of weird parasite that has taken up shelter in my body. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Kearns.
I'm going to use that next time. I have the cysts on my liver from drinking bad water.
Which is why you don't drink water, you drink beer.
That's right. Purified.
If they had beer, we would have drank it. I did not endear myself to the 2 females that were there in the group. We had to dispatch a rabbit and skin it. I did not kill the rabbit, but I was present when its life was terminated swiftly. But I was the one who had to skin it. So I'm skinning this rabbit, and the head fell off of it. And I reached down, and I grabbed it. And I'm like, oh, my head fell off. And its little ears were flopping around, and they did not find humor. I thought it was hilarious. I've got this little rabbit's head in my hands, and I'm like, oh, look, my head fell off. How did it help my DMing style?
Well, not just this one, but all these real world. Because earlier, you show empathy towards animals.
Oh yeah.
Your literary background, your reenactment pieces, all those things act as a conglomerate that come together and influence you as a DM. And I was kind of curious how those have impacted your games, and have you brought any of these? Some people don't realize it's heavy carrying a backpack all day, or strap on a sword and just wear it for a day, and you're like, holy crap, this thing gets heavy after a while. Try climbing up 20 feet of rope, or et cetera, et cetera. So these kind of things, I know, and we suffer from the benefit of a lot of us being military. So we've been through those kind of things, and I think that does allow us a different perspective in DMing or gaming, and so that's where I was kind of going with that.
I would definitely say that is true, especially when it comes to when you all break for camp. Like when you camp for the night, like how do you prepare your camp? How do you prepare yourself for intrusions in the night? That harkens back once again to this 3-day survival challenge. We had one other fellow was in his. We pretty much had these just plastic tarps that we had made makeshift tents out of. And a deer came out of the woods sometime in the middle of the night and just pissed all over the side of his tent. And it's like, how do you prepare for that? How you're able to adapt to that type of scenario. He definitely didn't see it at 2:00 in the morning. Who's ready for a deer to come out of nowhere and just piss up the side of your tarp?
I'd be ready. I'd be waiting with a knife.
But I would definitely say, especially experiences especially military, going back, especially when we talk about things when you all are coming up with tactics and remembering things like overlapping fields of fire and stuff like that. These terminologies that a lot of people who have not had the benefit of a military background may not understand. They don't understand what a defilade is, or but how it pertains to Dungeons and Dragons, because we use those things as well, or other role-playing games. I mean, I've still got manuals sitting in here. I got one of those old aircraft recognition books. I got a Soviet armor book where it's military, and it's like, oh yeah, from good old T-80s and T-64s and whatever the hell. I still have all that crap here.
I feel your pain because we watch Periscope films every now and then, which they recover old footage, and a lot of them are old training films. I'm like, oh crap, I want to watch this, and I can just hear Stephanie like, God damn it, really? Aircraft recognition. I did get her with. I found a video on how to maintain, load, and fire a flamethrower. I thought that was pretty good. You never know when you're going to need that. So those kind of things is our entertainment, and you have a very eclectic and diverse, and which is one of the things I wanted to showcase, Brian.
Yeah,
I know everybody here but Melinda, but I do know Russ. I know Mike and Glenn, obviously. And for me, what I wanted to do out of this exercise was really kind of get to know some of the things from your past, and really pull some of those things out and highlight that you're actually a person. So that was actually my goal.
I'm not just some automaton. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's
You're
cool.
not AI? What?
No, not even AI. Wow. Yeah.
Well, no, he only has one eye. Eye.
He only has 5 fingers.
Yeah, that's kind of a miracle, because I love to woodwork. I like the bookshelf behind me. I made that. I'm actually really good at it, but I'm absolutely scared to death of my power tools and like everything in my workshop. I'm scared to death of. So I take so much extra care in any time I work with wood, because my wife, she will not let me woodwork if she's gone, because she thinks that I'm going to hurt myself, and then she'll come home and I'll be dead. So I can't do that.
Reminds me of Kelvitus, the NCO from my section. His wife actually told us that he was not allowed to handle knives, because we had to watch him. He had 2 knife incidences, and one of them was sticking a bayonet right on the inside of his tear duct.
Oh God, why would he do that?
He was cutting a carpet with
a bayonet?
And he did this, and it slipped, and his arm brought it poop right in. Yeah, it was fun. We got our asses from her for that. But
oh my gosh, that's crazy. Yeah, no, that's nuts. Yeah, no, totally get it. But yeah, hopefully that answered your question. Yeah, but it definitely, I would say all the experiences I've had have played into my gaming. I mean, there's been situations where I definitely probably believe it has.
No, that's kind of where I'm going, because I've DM tables where people are like, I'm just gonna make a lasso and throw it up around that rock. I'm like, you know how fucking hard that is, you dumbass?
Yeah.
It's hard to do those kind of things. And, now, granted, if you're doing them all the time, like in a medieval-esque type scenario, I mean, it gets exponentially easier, go out and try and hit a rabbit with a rock, the survival school thing.
Yeah.
It is harder than you think.
It is
Talk to these rangers. Talk to these rangers. They tell you how easy it is.
Yeah, I would. I mean, during that 3-day survival challenge, we had to fashion ourselves a slingshot out of just whatever we could pretty much find. And I actually got one that worked. I actually was able to whittle something down that worked. I mean, of course, they gave us the rubber hosing sort of thing, but we had to create the actual, the fork, and we had to, create the pocket where the bolt or the bullet would be in. We had to make our own like eating utensils. I made a fork. That was kind of. I still have it. It's around here somewhere. I have a lot of stuff that I took out of the woods with me, but yeah, a lot of people don't realize how difficult it is that when you're really faced with a situation where you have nothing and you have to make something to make life just livable, not easy, just so that you can eat. And I think that's I would definitely say that definitely has helped me as a person understand where. And we had people who couldn't finish the 3 days. They left before the end of it. They couldn't hack it. There was one.
Survive on your own fat for 3 days.
Huh?
Yep.
You can survive on your own fat for 3 days.
Yeah, but I think it was a combination of it's Florida. The bugs were pretty intense. Sleeping was kind of hard. It was difficult, but I lasted the entire 3 days and walked out with the group. But I would say half of us disappeared by the second day.
Wow.
Yeah, but
more rations for me.
Yeah, but well, it was more rabbit for me.
Especially the head. Yeah. Little bunny foo foo, I don't want to see you.
Yeah. Playing with dead animals is something that I probably have a bad reputation for. It's like, well, look, Anderson plays with dead things. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I mean, like I've had friends who, I mean, we'd be walking around on railroad tracks, and I have a buddy named Grant. He would find a skull of some poor animal that got hit by a train. He'd take it home with him. Be like, yep, mine. Okay.
That's Glenn. Remember that fucking skull you found in my barn when we moved out in Asheville? And you're like, I'm taking that fucking shit home. I'm like, all right, whatever, man.
Yeah, I've always collected. I love deer and cow skulls for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I mean,
mummified mice.
Hey, now that's still the best magic item I've ever had. So, but
mummified mice.
No, Ed says hitting a rabbit with a rock is hard. I don't know. I kind of grew up in the Ozarks. I'm pretty mean with a rock throwing.
Y'all ever seen a rabbit stick? A throwing stick?
Oh yeah, like an addle type of thing.
No, it's a stick. It's just a stick.
Yeah,
a rabbit stick.
I'm not sure what that is. I'd have to look it up.
It's a stick.
Uh-huh.
And it has an aerodynamic shape to it, a slight aerodynamic shape to it, and you throw it, and it goes in a straight line.
Oh.
It's the single most useful thing if you to practice. You practice with it, of course, but it's the single most useful item you can have if you have nothing else.
Oh, okay. I'll have to look that up too. That sounds interesting. Huh? I had no idea.
Brian, how much have you learned tonight? You learned beekeeping books, rabbit sticks.
Rabbit sticks, yeah. I had no idea.
I mean, when you're talking about doing the slingshot and the survival thing, I would be sitting there going, I don't want to do a slingshot. I want to do a staff sling.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been cool.
I mean, that's a stick, it's a pocket, and it's a rock.
Yeah.
But I never worked with one, so for me, I would go for the sling. I used to be deadly as a kid with a slingshot. I killed duck with slingshots, bullfrogs from across the creek and up on the cliff. If I could see them, I could pretty much hit it.
Yeah, but have you ever tried to take down a pig by shooting it in the vagina with a toothpick from a BB gun?
Oh God!
Yeah, there's the story.
Yeah, That sounds quite disturbing to me, but okay.
But I noticed there are two people that are laughing here. They're just like,
too much information.
Yes.
Roughing the listener. 2-beer penalty.
oh, okay.
Was that before or after we got Jeff to
Oh,
grab one of the pigs with one of
I
those
think
loose
it
things?
was ongoing. It was ongoing. We used to
Yeah.
fuck with those pigs, but anyway.
I don't mess with pigs.
yeah. Yeah, the only time that I've actually been hunting a couple of times, but the only time that I actually shot something was a 250-pound boar in South Florida.
Oh,
And
love
that was interesting enough. And the best part about it is it fed 4 families.
I bet.
Because I kept the backstrap on it, and then I gave away 2 hams and the rest of the parts. And my neighbors were so well. I can't say they were like the best neighbors, but at least they were okay, I suppose. They were from Cuba, and we gave them one of the shoulders.
Yep.
And they ended up cooking it with like mojo. And they ended up bringing some of it back over to us so that we could taste it. It was magnificent. I'm like, oh my gosh. I was about ready to hand them the backstrap and said, hey, if you'll just cook this for me. Because they did it like in a pit in the backyard. They like dug out something. I don't know what they do. It's just, it's Cuban
they dug
magic.
out grandma's grave.
Yeah, it's Cuban magic. I don't know what they were doing. Yeah, and so they did that. But that was the only time that I actually was successful at hunting. And it was a good day. It was pretty good.
Well, Brian, those are the last of my questions, my 5 questions. Thank you for your time.
Oh, good. Alrighty.
Bob,
Timble?
do you have any more?
Or I didn't know if
sorry.
Timble had anything else.
I was going to ask you about min-max, the whole role-playing culture, which you prefer.
Oh.
I have an idea.
Okay.
Which class would you consider to be your favorite or the best singular class?
Uh-huh.
But, you know, it's all subjective, and thought we would learn about your mindset on classes. But you know what? It's pretty late. We haven't rolled some dice yet. Well, except for Ed, and he's going to re-roll that one because he's a gentleman.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's gotten a little late. And I didn't know if we were going to, didn't know how far we were going to go with it. But to answer your question, Paladin is my favorite. I absolutely love Paladin. I love playing Paladin. Matter of fact, I've gotten accused of, right now I'm playing in an evil campaign locally, and my son kind of said, Dad, you can't do evil. You do it poorly. And I'm like, and he says, yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, I was playing, we're playing Pathfinder, and I was playing a witch, and she's supposed to be lawful evil, and I'm terrible at playing evil. I am so bad at it. And now my son can do it really, really well. He just doesn't have any problem with it. And my wife's playing, and she was playing an evil cleric, and she's really good at it. I can't. I'm just so, I don't know. And then my buddy, the DM, he's just like going, yeah, I mean, and this is really kind of like the first evil campaign that I've ever been in. And I feel like a fish out of water the entire time. Now, my first character that I ever played in a D&D game was a wizard, and I really enjoyed it. But that was like in 1982. But once Paladin came onto the scene, I grabbed that and I fell in love with the class.
Did you toy with the Cavalier?
No, I never did. I never went that route. That would have been cool. I think
It's played a Cavalier once.
Yeah, Ed played
I did. Brendillion the Blue, and then and Scott Riddle played Balthazar. We were the Killer Bees.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I think you've told us about that. That's pretty cool. But as far as min-maxing goes, as from a DM standpoint, characters, like the last campaign that I ran locally here in Bristol, about my buddy, he maxed. I mean, he hates to lose. So he has min-maxed the shit out of his character. The only problem is the other characters are not. And so the problem I end up having is that if I make things challenging for him, to challenge him, it will murder the rest of the team. If I make things right at the right level for the other people, he gets bored. Or it's a walk in the park for him. So that's why the next campaign I run is actually going to be a Dune Adventures in the Imperium. They're using pre-generated characters. It's going to drive him up the wall.
What about archetypes? What kind of archetypes do you like? I mean, because I know for myself, I'm playing a rogue mastermind, which is widely considered the weakest thing in the game.
Okay. Well, see, I think I've only played 5e once as a player. And I was playing a monk, and I was terrible at it. Because it was the first time I ever played a monk, and I didn't really understand what I was doing. So as far as archetypes go, I don't really. Let's see.
You've seen them, but you really haven't had one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really, and a lot of times I never even really explored a lot of the archetype possibilities. I still go back to second edition sort of stuff and really held on to my love of that game. Of course, the earlier stuff also advanced D&D. I love AD&D.
I'm right there with you.
That's where I cut my teeth.
If you go out there looking on the internet and start looking around, it seems like everything that is homebrew is archetype builds that are built, and it's
well, see, that's also kind of like the same thing with multi-classing. I have never played a multi-class character.
Really?
Yeah, I've just never really been torn to do that.
Yeah.
Very rarely. Not a fan.
For the record,
not a fan.
Tomas is my first multi-class character.
Are you enjoying it?
You forgot to say, excuse me, Ambassador, are you enjoying that?
Lord Tomas, Ambassador, do you enjoy that?
Little Tommy.
Now, guys, going back to first edition, wizards are really, really weak.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a way to fix that. What you do is you start off as a fighter, and you progress through first and second level fighter. Then you change to a magic user. But you're not a multi-class. You're a human character with 2 classes.
Yep.
And and when you reach third level magic user, you can use the weapons and armor of the fighter with no experience penalty.
I always thought you just sacrificed the mage.
Yeah, I know, that's the problem. But this that gives you, at a first level magic user, that gives you up to 20 plus hit points.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good idea. Yeah.
So in Russ's next game, Russ has to play not a man magic user. There we go. Got it.
That's fine. I have several classes that I like to play. Believe it or not, I like playing a cleric.
Yeah.
Not a cleric that you're going to think about. Normally, I like to play a cleric of the Norse pantheon.
Oh, okay.
And we always had a house rule that if your god had a particular weapon, you could use that weapon as a priest of that god.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Okay, Frey. Frey has a two-handed sword.
Yeah, that's the way they do it in Pathfinder. In Pathfinder, if your god or goddess has a favored weapon, that's what her clerics all carry. Saren Ray was a longsword, and so I played a cleric of Saren Ray in a Pathfinder adventure and carried a longsword. Yeah, did all types of cool stuff with that character. That's pretty cool.
Oddly enough, I also like to play the Paladin. But I try to play the Paladin over the
Next turn.
Oh.
Well, so like with Ed's adventure that he's put together that I think we're going to try to do sometime in the future. I'm playing a wizard, which is
necromancer.
Actually a necromancer, so that ought to be pretty interesting.
That'll be a fun one. I mean, we've already discussed this in our household. There's the football season can pretty much end this weekend because if we lose, there's no way we're going to be in the playoffs. So we only got 3 more games. We've been in a stage of go, go, go. And Steph's like, look, you lunatic, you're going to drive yourself even more insane. And she has to deal with me, which is why Grenna and Stephanie talking about me would be pretty funny in its own right. But, that one will be interesting. I try to put people in those positions where they are a little bit offset like that. And I love that shit.
Can I make an observation?
Sure.
And I'm not trying to be a dick. I understand the reasons you have for limiting and all that good stuff. But when you start talking about that campaign that Melinda and I are not invited to,
it's all about.
I get it, man. I get it. But it's still a pain in the ass.
But it's so much fun. It's a fun game. I wish you were there. Everybody has had great reviews about it so far. They've been just begging me periodically to keep playing, and you're excluded. Anyway, we have not played a game yet.
Yeah,
we have not played a game.
We haven't
yet.
even played yet.
He just fed you the biggest line of shit.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking. I said, did I miss an episode or did I miss a session?
I recognize that, Ed, and I understand your reasons for limiting.
Well,
however, it feels when you start talking about it and start getting really excited about it, and that at least I am going to be excited about it. It still hurts.
Well, everybody hurts sometimes. No, I'm teasing. Actually, I've looked at and I've got 2 adventures that are kind of in the can where I have some one-shots that I'm actually looking to probably use in December to get back into the role of everything. Reviewing a Dungeon in a Box, and then WotC put out a miniature set that's an Adventure in a Box. It's a single one-shot scenario, and it provides all the miniatures. I'm like, okay, let's see if we can do something with that. And so I'm with you on that, Russ, and I do plan on including you.
No, that's not the point. I understand your reasoning behind it. But you keep bringing it up in front of me.
Well, that was my fault. That was my fault. I am sorry, Russ. That was my fault. And
like I said, I'm not trying to come off.
But nobody's rubbing their nose in it. There's no one rubbing your nose in it. Ed likes to push your buttons, but it's still vaporware at this point.
Okay.
Yep.
True.
And I don't know about pushing his G-spot button or anything like that. I'm not doing that.
Ooh, right here, Ed. Right here.
Up and in? Isn't that it? Up and in?
I'm sorry. Talking about something.
Oh Lord.
I went to sleep. Sorry.
Hey, Brian, I don't think there's any more questions, but hey, how did you like the interview?
It was good. Ended on a weird note. it felt awkward, and I felt like I was partially to blame. Like, oh
At
god,
least you didn't say it ended on a good spot.
no,
It's a sweet spot.
Yogi, yo.
No, the questions were really good. I'm glad you guys allowed me to, share some of the tales and stories and stuff like that. That was cool. And true to form with people in Appalachia and northeastern Tennessee, once we start talking, we just don't shut the hell up. So.
Yeah, but we can actually understand you, and we think you have a pretty normal like genome pool. So
yeah. I mean, as far as that goes back, yeah. The one thing that I deviate from my ancestral roots is my Scandinavian ancestry. A lot of the people there are usually pretty quiet people. They don't like to talk a lot, especially my the Finnish folks out there. Usually they don't chat a lot. But we here in the South, and especially in northeastern Tennessee, we like to just talk and talk and talk.
You know what the Finnish word for wife means?
The Finnish word for
it means
is it the word Ninen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember my Finnish.
But what that translates to is person I dislike the least.
Nice. That is cool. That is pretty cool. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Oh, yeah. I never really looked up the because it's usually like Finnish words are very there's literal meanings behind everything, and it's like and I only studied it long enough to be able to order coffee and a pulla.
I mean, they even have a word for sitting at home in your underwear drinking.
Yes, they do. They do have that. A lot of the names are names that they've just pulled from natural things. It's just weird. Great language, very difficult. A lot more. I would say a lot more difficult than German. And German, I'm actually not so bad at, but man. And then my buddy was trying to get me to learn Swedish, and I'm like, I don't know if I could. Swedish is supposed to be really pretty simple, but the way he's pronouncing stuff, I'm looking at it going, I don't know how you're doing this. And then of course,
like this.
Then we got into a conversation because he couldn't believe that we do not roll our R's in English. And he said, "Wait a minute, you guys don't roll your R's?" And I'm like going, "No." And he said, "I thought you did." I'm like, "No, we don't." Because I was trying to learn how to roll my R's because they do it in Finnish and Swedish and Norwegian. And I'm like, it's very difficult because I didn't learn it when I was a kid, but it is what it is. Alrighty. So is that
all right, Brian, wrap us up out of here.
Okay, so I guess because this is the end of the question series. All right. Well, thank you guys very much for hanging out with us and listening to me ramble on for 2 hours. Wow, it's been 2 hours. I'm actually sweating. It's like, damn. But yeah, so did you guys want to try to get some gaming in this evening, or is it getting a little too...
I think an hour is a little bit too short for us.
Okay.
Just because we tend to be a bit verbose.
I know, but I think we were talking about next week. We needed to do it on Tuesday
or Monday. We're doing it on Tuesday because we have a band concert, so we're going to do it on Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
But Wednesdays was bad for Brian.
Was Wednesday bad for me? Yeah, Wednesday's bad for me.
Okay. So no game next week.
So no game next week. That sucks.
What's that?
I cannot do Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I could do Wednesday and make it work. Alexa's coming into town, and that's James's senior day up at Shepherd, so we are heading up there to do a bunch of stuff. So
Nice.
it is literally the culmination of his football career is coming to an end, and yeah, it is rough. I mean, Glenn, Mike, you guys have watched his football career since he was a little kid. Did you ever think he'd be here?
I stood out in that damn rain, holding the damn chains, freezing my ass off at Rockbridge. That boy had to.
That was the ice. That was the ice storm. Holy shit, that was cold. Running the chains at an ice storm, and we're frozen on half our body, with literally like flaking chunks of ice are collecting on your body.
That's brutal.
And that's from down to down. I mean, it didn't take long. It was nasty out there.
Okay. So
I'd forgotten about that game.
That's wild. So okay, so not next week, but maybe the week after.
I'm totally open.
Okay,
so no Monday.
Okay,
so we talked about a Monday game.
We can't do Monday. We're good.
Okay. Well, okay. Well, we'll figure it out. But for folks watching this later, thank you all very much for hanging out with us. If you like what you see, make sure to hit the like button, follow us. That would be really appreciate it. Also, catch us on our podcast, which covers the Princess of Zelenen. I think episode 28 or 29 is going live this Saturday. So. And I got to say that recently our audio has gotten much better. So that's it's getting better every time. So I think it's working out. So make sure to check us out on just type in the Mystic Syndicate on Apple Podcasts, and you can find us there. Leave a comment. If you leave a comment, hell, even good or bad, I guess, I'm trying to work on some merch ideas. I'm still would love to see some artwork from Pav's daughter, but we'll see what happens with that. No, sorry. No pressure. I don't like pressuring people. But I have been working on some ideas for T-shirts, things of that nature, stickers and stuff. I actually have a person who is able to make posters for us. I mean, like really beautiful stuff. I've been teaching myself how to do some AI stuff. I actually downloaded like a real program that I can manipulate and get in there and like put programming in to make absolutely beautiful posters. In the future, I'm going to have a new opening for our Twitch stream that is going to have each of your characters re-imaged and have the name of them and then your all's like first name played by. And there's going to be music behind it. It's going to be absolutely beautiful.
Is it like the Love Boat theme? Love boats soon will be taking another run.
No, I don't think so. That would be. Yeah, who's Captain Stubing? Yeah, is it Ed? It's Ed, isn't it, Lord?
No, actually,
he's Julie, the travel director.
That's exactly what they called me. I used to work for a company, and the sole purpose I had for having a company credit card is when we'd have user conferences to make sure they were all drunk. I was the tour director.
That's nice. There is nothing wrong with that. All righty, guys.
I'll be the bartender.
I was wondering who was going to be Isaac the bartender. Yeah.
And that was all great until he got fired for sexual harassment.
He was living the part.
Yeah.
You know, who knew calling a chick a cunt would get you in trouble at a work function?
That would do it. Yeah, it's safe to use the C word here because Australians use it all the time.
It's a person, place, or thing.
I actually made a comment one night on a stream. I said, yeah, it's a word that it shows up in their like preschool primers. It'd be like it's a noun. It's a noun.
Yeah, like Bigby and Train Spotting. No fucking cunt, please. So we figure out which fucking cunt did it.
All right,
Yep,
guys.
Exactly.
All righty. So let's. All right. This is.
So Brian, you can't say I could tickle somebody's fancy after you just learned I got in trouble for sexual harassment. I'll answer that question after we're off air.